A school building, a physical space that is supposed to foster full potential. A community member's full potential to spectate. A teacher's full potential to teach. A coach's full potential to coach. And a student's full potential to learn. However, a person's full potential can only be accessed when the physical environment allows for it. For most able-bodied students, getting to class and maximizing their learning time is not a problem. But for some, when accidents happen, their school day can be more challenging.
Last year, I was injured playing football. I broke my leg and I had to sit out from school for a couple weeks. Then when I came back, I was in a wheelchair and the stair lift barely worked half the time and it was just hard for me to get up and down the steps. And then after the wheelchair, I was put into crutches, and the crutches weren't so better because I had to go up a lot of stairs, and the bathrooms were even harder because it was just all tight and crammed in.
Due to these physical limitations, Noah's learning was also affected.
When I was in my wheelchair, I had to leave class about 10 minutes early every class because I had to make it to the next class on time, and I would lose a lot of learning time because I would get the assignments early and I would miss out on everything else that all the kids got, so I'd have to ask everybody else for help for a lot of different assignments.
But it's not just a student's full learning potential that becomes affected. The current environment also affects a teacher's ability to teach.
The current situation that we have in the science lab, the biology room is separate from the chemistry and physics room, and then there's a junior high room at the end. And what this does is it limits the lab space that we have for the biological and general science classes at the high school. In previous years we have had a shared lab space between the two high school science programs, and it was great because there was spontaneity, and if a kid said, hey, how about this, with a question, we could actually go and grab materials and do what we needed to. But now, knowing that going in and grabbing materials is going to interrupt another teacher's class, it makes you have to plan ahead a little bit, and it's more like, well, we'll test that tomorrow instead of being able to test it right now. And I think that really hinders the scientific process, and it doesn't necessarily show kids how science is done in the real world.
In science curriculum today, teachers rely heavily on labs to give students the hands-on learning they need.
The biggest drawback that I see in here is not only the lack of spontaneity, but we also waste time waiting for sinks, because rather than each lab group having their own access to water, which is a very important component of almost every project, they have to wait in line at the two sinks that we have available in the biology room.
While a teacher relies on the physical space and tools to teach effectively, it is the school day schedule as a whole that affects both students and teachers. At Central, this all starts with the lunchroom.
This will be part of phase 1 of the remodel project, which would move this room up to what is now the high school media center. The reason that this is so crucial to the remodel is safety and academics.
Currently, there are 5 different shifts of students that are eating in the lunchroom.
And a lot of those are here at the same time, coming and going. And as you can see, that leads to the safety issue, where really if there was a fire on the main entrance, our only other door out of here is not handicap accessible and very narrow, so you can only get one line of people through at a time.
School lunch affects the entire academic day because it affects scheduling. Moving the lunchroom to a bigger area means reducing 5 lunch shifts to 3. This could have great gains for both students and teachers.
By infusing and trying to add a new foyer system, which hopefully would have the capacity to put, for my sake, all of the 612 students together, I think we would be able to utilize our time better academically by having all the students eat at the same time, possibly lengthening our class periods by 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes, which is very important on a daily basis. And I would be able to better utilize my staff, because at the present time, when the middle school has to eat, I have to utilize just those teachers that teach middle school for that time period. And by allowing everybody in both the middle school and high school to eat at the same time, it actually will probably open up more opportunities for classes. opens up more opportunities for my staff to teach more of a variety of things instead of just being built into, okay, I have to teach middle school just at that time because that's when the middle school lunch is, etc. So there are a lot of major gains by putting in a nice, larger cafeteria.
It's not just core classes and teachers that would benefit from a new cafeteria. The special education department would also see much needed time added to their one-on-one interventions with students.
Our whole day is scheduled around what happens, what time we eat lunch. And so that really makes an impact on how we are able to do one-on-one intervention. The middle school and the elementary eat lunch together. There's a huge rotation of elementary students coming in and out, as well as the high school. And so I work with students from 1st grade to 11th grade. And so my day is very wide range where I'm at in time scheduling, and I also voluntarily gave up my lunch so I'm able to accommodate those needs of our students.
Gaining more one-on-one time with students isn't the only benefit. Currently, the special education wing sits in the middle of the building. That means no windows, only stairs for accessibility, and a single exit out of the rooms, proving to be a major hazard in the case of a fire.
There's one door for us to get in and out of, and so what do you do if there's a fire blocking the door? There's no way out.
Safety concerns aren't just for the classroom. Students participate in a variety of extracurricular sports and physical education classes, and almost every one of them uses the weight room.
The space we have here is just under 1,700 square feet, but that isn't even all usable 1,700 square feet. We got the staircase back there that kind of cuts into our area quite a bit. We've got a bathroom here that cuts into our area as well. So we have maybe 1,300 roughly square feet, and for up to 35 athletes at a time. I've had PE classes in the past that have been 35, 36 students. Our football team this fall is going to have roughly 35 kids. We've had 32 this past fall for football in here at the same time. I know track as well has that number of athletes, if not more, and it gets very difficult, and safety as well as efficiency is a major issue for us.
More space for physical training proves to have several benefits for students and coaches.
The quality of the space that we would have would increase efficiency, but it make it safer as well. More athletes could get into the weight room. It's a proven fact that when kids work out and strength train, injuries go down. Numbers for our athletic teams would be better. You know, we wouldn't have 2 or 3 kids out each week with injuries. So maximizing our participation would be another bonus. But like I said, you know, it's not just a physical benefit to be in the weight room. It's also an emotional benefit, a mind, body, and soul deal where it improves everything about a person when they're in this type of environment and proving themselves.
Encouraging students to perform at their potential is important. However, due to parking, it can be difficult for members of the community and visiting communities to attend these events.
I usually find a place to park either behind the funeral home, or I can walk. It doesn't make that much difference to me, but I can understand the inconvenience it does cause elderly people that cold, snowy streets aren't the best sometimes. They like to park as close as possible.
Due to the parking, some events may discourage outsiders from even attending.
Oh, especially tournament games when you do have maybe 4 basketball teams represented here. I don't think we're even going to go because we'll never find a place to park, so I'm sure it cuts back on some people that don't attempt even to come.
It's not just parents that wish to attend their kids' events. Grandparents that live nearby wish to attend as well.
Well, we only have one granddaughter, and she graduated last year, and our grandson will be a sophomore next year, and I don't think we missed a game either one of them played for since Tara was a freshman, or even before that even. So yeah, it's important to us, and we're fortunate to have our grandkids close enough we can go watch them, so we thoroughly enjoy doing that.
In a school building, you want everyone to have the same opportunities and be safe in the process. However, when you begin to add up all the physical limitations of the current structure at Central, one can't help but ask, how is anyone able to access and reach their full potential?
Make teaching accessible.
Make science accessible.
Make fitness
Watching grandkids.
Learning accessible.
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 For every person that enters the doors at Central, help make their full potential accessible. For a video tour, tax information, and more, visit centralbondcampaign.com.